We continued in the third part of tonight's class with, well, why is God doing it this way? What's the point in putting a piece of himself through all the pains of this world? And there we give an answer, a very existential answer. Both the enormous benefit of my soul's heights that can only be attained here, and the even more enormous benefits of giving God the gift of evil transformed to godly, that can only happen through the trenches, through the pains of this world. If you appreciate it, feel free to drop a like.
Basically what you just said, almost the same what you just said.
Sure, let me hear. No, I want to hear. I just wanted to.
No, that's what
you were going to say, the same idea.
Yeah, same idea, but basically not to be present. Opposite, like we always say, it's good to concentrate, to be present. This is actually opposite. You out of where you are. And it happens many times, probably just never thought about this. When you just said fake news, it came to my mind. Things which we hear in media, or even at work when you're sitting on some meeting and people talking, you think, what are they talking about? It's such a nuisance. And they would spend hours and talking about truly nuisance. I mean, for you, for me, for myself, in my mind, I would just disattach and I'm somewhere else and outside. But at this point, I could miss what they say. If they call Marina, I will be like, oh, what did you say? I had to go back to my body. But
a good way. I like what Miriam pointed out. She's saying that we usually, and she's absolutely right, we always want to be present. And she's right, we do. And it's actually in the Hasidic lexicon, we have this term, it's called being a pnimi. Pnimi in English translates as an inward person, but in the Hasidic world, it's like a very high compliment for someone who's truly present. Where he is, he's there completely. And I always think personally, when I'm thinking about this subject, or just sometimes in other situations, I think that as Lubavitcher Rebbe as this amazing model of present. Like if you learn talks of the Rebbe, whatever date the talk happens to be on is always like the best day, the ultimate day, the day for sure Mashiach's coming. Well, he told me that last week about last date. Last holiday, he said that was the best holiday. So what's the best holiday? What's the best day of the week? What's the best month? What's the best date on the calendar? Wherever you are currently. That's a pnimi. Wherever you are, be there completely. So Miriam has a very good point. Normally, that's our aspiration, that's our goal, that's what the Rebbe is modeling for us, that's the best. And we don't want to be spacey. We don't want to be out of it. That's not an advantage, that's not good. We waste time, as she's saying, we don't hear important things, we don't function properly, we don't achieve well. She's absolutely right. But sometimes it's like a life vest. It's like what we need to get through the moment. And this is a very strong point in terms of what the Rebbe is saying here. It's not like this is the ultimate goal and we want you to run the rest of your life. No, we don't. As we're saying, the Jews ran out of Egypt and then they started working on themselves. And 49 days later, we, this is us, we were by Mount Sinai with refined bodies. And by Mashiach, which is happening now, we're not going to be running. They won't be able to run from. So it's not like this is our goal and this is our aspiration and we want to do this a few times a day. It's like if you have no choice. Like she's giving a very practical example. If you're with a group of people talking ideas that are fear-evoking, like current news, or inappropriate, or put you in bad spaces, or put bad images in your head, escape. Sit there, but escape. Sarah, do you have something to add? I see you're, I'm not sure why. Anyone else have something to add? Okay. So think about how this applies. And again, the reason why we're saying this here is, first we said that we as humans have joy because we have focus, we have a mission, we have a goal, we're going to accomplish something, we're getting our soul free, accomplishment stretch. This makes us feel good. You know, all our happy hormones are like, we're so happy because we're achieving and we're accomplishing. And the more precious the soul is, and the more I realize how messed up everything else is, the more I feel great getting her free. And then we said it's even a deeper joy. It's not just my joy in freeing her. It's the soul's joy. That's my real joy. And look where she was, and look where she is, and imagine that ecstasy. And then we said, wait a minute, but we're the prince and we're the prison. And we're saying, separate, detach, disassociate if it's going to pull you down. Now, obviously, as I'm saying, that's not the end of the road. That's not our final goal. It's just in the moment if that's how we can handle it. But now the Rebbe goes on to say the next stage of work. And for this tshuva, again, tshuva generally means like returning after one's sinned, after one's transgressed. But here it really means returning the soul, restoring the soul back home, back to her Father, back to God. Me'umka deliva, from the depth of the heart. And the joy of the soul should be even more strong, even more intense, with even more light. Kasher yashav elibo, when a person remembers, when you remind yourself, das visvuna, with a lot of understanding, like you halt cup, as we say, your mind, your focus. L'nachamo me'itzvono v'yidono, to comfort yourself from your pain, because obviously there's a lot of pain here. Leimar kanal, to say as we said above, hey, emes chule, it's true, right? What did we say above? We said, well, it's true. Again, initially, the person's like, oh my gosh, am I messed up? To break my apathetic state, I had to really focus on how messed up I am, and it's true, I'm so messed up. And then we said, thought one of this joyous road, I'm messed up, but guess what? That's not my soul, that's my body. I can free my soul, and that's a happy thought. And then we said, hey, feeling the joy of the soul is an even happier thought. And then we said, hey, the body's still around, that's still me. Disassociate, focus on the soul, appreciate the soul, recognize your true reality as a soul. It's what you've been all these lifetimes, it's what you are now, it's what you'll ultimately be. And don't let the body's pains bring you down. Now the Rebbe says, continuing this idea even a step further, it's true, all of that above is true. But guess what? Great, liberating, happy thought. I didn't make myself. It's my idea. I'm the one that took this gorgeous, beautiful princess, soul, piece of God, God's only child. Every one of us is God's only child. And then dumped her into this world and this body and these issues and traumas and stresses and pain. It wasn't my version of the story. This was God's idea. So what was he thinking? Why did God do this? To take a piece of his light, to take a piece of himself, to take a piece of his essence and being. The core of our soul is the core of God's reality. That fills and encompasses all the world. The for which all creation is nothing. That's what I am. That's what my soul is. That's what the core of my soul is. It's the core of God. And God took this, and what did he do? He put himself in this snake skin, the tipas rucha, the spoiled drop. What was he thinking? Sometimes we wonder that, right? He was thinking something. He was thinking we need an enormous descent of self, because the soul is God's self, in order to create an elevation only possible through this descent. Lahalos lahavaya kol nefesh hachiyunis habahamish miklipas noiga v'chol levusheha hem b'chin machshava diru ma'isa shala ada hislapshusam b'ma'isa dibru machshavas haTorah. God was thinking. He wants something he doesn't yet have. What doesn't God have? God has everything. He doesn't yet have evil. So there's two levels here in what was God thinking? God wants an elevation for my soul that's only possible by being put in this garbage. And God wants an elevation of all the evils that are trapping my soul, my animal soul, and her garments and thoughts and speech and deed, all of which is only possible through my soul being in all that garbage. Meaning, this is a very, very deep thought the Rebbe is saying, but a very, very important thought for us to live with. Sometimes you think like deep, oh, well, that's like, not for me, I'm not a theologian. No, Tanya's supposed to be deep and enormously practical. The Rebbe says, when you wonder what was God thinking, understand he was thinking. No accidents here, no randoms here. He wants two levels of ascent only possible through going way down. What is God gaining? He's gaining an ascent of the soul, and he's gaining an ascent of the darkness. And that one's even more powerful. Why is my soul ascending by being here? For loads of reasons. No, that's not true. I remember I learned in Hasidus that even the greatest tzaddik here can't love God like any soul loved God above. Yeah, that's true too. But there's so much that the soul accomplishes, changes, becomes only possible in the darkness. For example, only here can we give to God. The greatest soul above can enjoy, can love, can fear, but can't give God anything. So the whole ability to give to is only possible in this darkness. What else? Only here can the soul serve God irrational. Meaning all of us above, the part that we don't remember before this chapter started, everything makes perfect sense above. The only reality is God. The only thing to do is God. The only desire is to connect to God. Makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. So our service is almost limited by sense because it's so logical. It's also logical because it is so logical. Well, we come to this world and suddenly it's making so much sense. And then we have an enormous opportunity to do something we can only do here. Serve God where it makes no sense. And that level of accessing is called in Hasidic language, Re'usa Deliba, this inner dimension of the heart is only here. Only here can the soul access Atzmus, being one with God's essence and being. Even the souls above, like Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov's, the holy, holy souls above, they're not getting God's essence and being. They can't. They would feel it and they would cease to exist from that fire, from that intensity. But in this world, such a great merit that we don't feel a thing. We truly become one with God's essence and being every single time we serve him. I don't feel a thing. Right, that's how you can do it. You don't feel a thing, but it's happening and it's changing you. And it's changing worlds by the process. So right now, for everyone, I don't know, screens are all on, I have no clue if you're slipping behind them. For everyone that's paying attention, for everyone whose mind's engaged, for every one of you that are right now chewing these concepts, you and God's essence and being are absolutely one. And that can only happen here. It's not possible anywhere but planet Earth. So just now, throughout, the advantage of giving to God, the advantage of serving him beyond sense, serving him with self-sacrifice. You can only self-sacrifice here. The advantage of being one with infused and changing because you and God's essence and being are one. All of that only is possible here. So, and again, this is the only things. This is just some of the top three. In this world, why is my soul here? Why am I going through this? Because only here can this happen. And for this ascent, it's over. And then the Rebbe says there's actually a greater ascent, something even more valuable to God. Because everything I just said about the soul is amazing, and it's true, and there's more. But what we're saying is taking something absolutely perfect and making it even stronger. But then there's giving God something he, so to speak, doesn't have here. And that's evil. And that transformation only possible here. And the only gain God has from creation, so to speak. Meaning, and again, this is so to speak to understand this, putting in human terms, we can envision creation as a bunch of losses. A businessman that keeps investing and losing and investing and losing and investing and losing. Because what's happening to God throughout the process of creation is minimization, 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 minimization. It's just smaller, 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 smaller. Till you come to planet Earth, till you come to a Jew who takes a piece of darkness and does a mitzvah and serves God. And when that happens, now it's all worth it. Because now there's a gain. Now there's a new light where before there was darkness. That's true in the world in general, and very specifically for our own personal mission, I can focus on the darkness of my animal soul, the darkness of the garments of my animal soul, human thought, human speech, human action, human feeling. And in all those places of darkness, I can serve God. I can refine the dark. We spoke before about running from yourself. And we said that's not ideal. It's not where we want to be. It's just sometimes where we have no choice. So in those crisis moments, run. But otherwise, work. Change yourself. Again, the Jews ran out of Egypt, but then they spent 49 days counting and changing and working on themselves. And as we work on ourselves, we take this animal, we take this darkness, and we make it light, we make it God. And that's the most enormous gain and reason that validates everything. That darkness has now become God's light. That darkness has been refined, that darkness has been elevated. That's why. And again, if these words don't translate, just a simple example of what I mean, and then I guess we'll stop and continue this next week. If a person by nature was very anxious, nervous, fearful, and thought enough about God, and absorbed enough about God, and exercised the muscle of trust enough about God, and in space of anxiety, tension, fear, worry, she's calm. She's centered. She knows it's God's world. She knows it's a safe world. She knows it's a good world. She knows she can trust because she knows it's God's world. She took that inner darkness and made it light. And that's the ultimate gain and purpose and reason why. So we have the enormous joy that I have something I can do, and I'm accomplished. I'm powerful. I can free my soul. We have the even more enormous joy of feeling the soul's joy. And then we have even more joy of knowing there's a reason for all this. And my soul can attain something only possible through this dark. And there's an even higher joy of saying, and so can my animal, and so can my body, and so can this world. And that's the reason why. Any thoughts, any questions on this before we end for tonight? Okay, well, really powerful, powerful messages the Rebbe was giving us. And definitely something to think, to process, and to see how to apply it to our own world. The Rebbe's talk of this week, it's very special because exactly like this year, the 9th of Av is on Shabbos, and the Rebbe speaks at length about how now is a time of redemption, how the month of Av is the time of redemption, and all these things he proves and quotes. I'm just saying the bottom lines. And how the 9th of Av is the time of redemption, the birth of Mashiach, the intensification of the Manzal, and the strength of Mashiach, especially Mincha, which is why we say Nachem on Tisha B'Av Mincha. And all this is happening this year on Shabbos. And that's great, because Shabbos is also a messianic time. As we say, the Mashiach is going to be one long Shabbos. So we have the energy of the 9th of Av Mashiach. We have the energy of Shabbos Mashiach. It also happens to be Shabbos Chazon, when we all are shown a vision of the Beis HaMikdash, and not as the mushal of the parable of Reb Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, not as a building, but as a garment, something very close to us. So we have all that Mashiach energy, Av's Mashiach energy, the 9th of Av's Mashiach's energy, Shabbos is Mashiach's energy, the moment of seeing the Beis HaMikdash is Mashiach energy. So it's a really special time. The Rebbe says, do not lessen at all your food on the 9th of Av. Celebrate more the final meal, which of course in a regular year we would call the Sudas HaMafsekes, and at the time when we would have the eggs to symbolize mourning and the bread with ash. We don't do any of that now. Eat shalosh seudos and have like the feast of King Solomon, because it's pure Mashiach energy. That the negativity get pushed off to the next day, but all the good is on Shabbos. So all that Mashiach is on Shabbos, and it's very special. And the Rebbe connects it Mincha time on Tisha B'Av, Shabbos. We're going to be reading V'eschanan in Mincha, and V'eschanan, which is a numerical value of 515. Is Moshe relating that he prayed 515 times to go to Israel, and God didn't let. God said, stop talking to him. And the Rebbe says, well, what's going on? It doesn't seem very positive. And we know it's tzaddik decrees and God fulfills. And this is not just a tzaddik. I say just a tzaddik. This is Moshe. So the Rebbe says, what we know for sure is it's happening. And those 515 prayers are happening and are making it happen and are actually causing the redemption. And the Rebbe says, actually, he doubts Moshe stopped after 515 times. Because there's a rule that anything the master, if you're in someone else's home, tells you listen to, except when they say to leave, then you don't have to go. So when God is saying to Moshe, leave, stop talking to me, Moshe is saying, no, here I don't have to listen. Here I'm going to keep pushing, keep harassing, keep nudging, keep praying. And this is the lesson we derive from this, that no matter what, we have to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and know that every single prayer, every single effort makes a difference and creates redemption. And the Rebbe ends the talk by saying, he gives a parable, a metaphor. He says, eat as if there's a locked box. That's the box of redemption. It's locked. But there's a key to the box. And the key is in each one of our hands. So we have to take the key and put it in the box and open it. Giving another cry, another demand, another plea, not losing focus, staying very focused and very passionate, saying, God, bring redemption now, to unlock this box and allow the redemption that's really already here to come out for all of us to experience. Very, very powerful talk. We should have a very Mashiach 9th of Shabbos, and we should definitely not have to get to Sunday in the fast, because we should have a complete revelation of Mashiach way before then.